The role can be really specific or it can be really varied, I think, and it depends very much on the setting that you work in, whether it's an inpatient setting or a community setting. But essentially for me the role of OT in palliative care is around helping people to be as active as possible in their daily life in things that they have to do, so essential activities and also valued activities. It's about very much about listening to what's important for the person and then making that happen. When you're working in an inpatient unit, sometimes your time is restricted because of resources, and a lot of the focus there is on getting people home. In the unit where I work, we have a lot of people that will come in several times, so they'll come in, symptoms will get under control, then we'll work at getting them home. They go home, deteriorate a bit more, come back in, and we go through the same process again. It's about teaching families how to cope, how to help somebody get in and out of bed or get on and off a chair, get on and off a toilet. So it's about the very practical nuts and bolts stuff of everyday life. Often in an inpatient setting people want to go home, so we'll conduct home assessments to work out whether that's actually feasible and doable from the patient's perspective, from the family's perspective. So oftentimes it can be a reality check. So somebody might go home and decide that it actually is too hard and that it's not achievable. And then it's about working with them after that to what is still important and how can we work with them to achieve that. So it's not just about being independent, sometimes it's about part independence. We will often prescribe equipment for people to cope at home. And oftentimes I think as OTs we undervalue that because it looks simple, but it's actually not simple, and it's actually a huge thing for a person to be able to stand independently from the toilet. It's huge for a carer to not have to lift somebody physically up from the toilet. So it's about enabling them to engage in everyday life. So there are also things like stress management and relaxation, or relaxation for stress management and anxiety, and helping managing shortness of breath. We do a lot of work with people around fatigue and pacing and how to slow yourself down so that you can still do the things that you're wanting to keep doing, but taking rest breaks in between. So oftentimes people will go like a bull at a gate like they do normally and then flop at the end of the day. So it's about teaching them that that doesn't work now, but you can try this or try that, and just sit down to have a shower. So just the practical things like that. I think the main thing is just about enabling independence or part independence in what's important for the person. And I think that's the critical thing. The other thing I was going to say, sometimes we're involved with helping people go home for terminal care, and oftentimes it can look like it's just provisional, say a hospital bed or an air mattress or something like that, but in terms of what's important for the person, it's also about asking, are they the type of person that likes to be in the cut and thrust of family life? So do they want to be the bed in the rumpus room so they can be around family, or are they a private person that needs space and they want the bed in their garden, they want the bed in their in a room where they can look over the garden and just have some quietness and privacy. So it's about provision of equipment within the context of that person's life and what's important to them. You have to work closely with other members of the palliative care team because patients change very, very quickly, and their symptoms can change from day to day or hour to hour. So you have to work closely so that you understand what's happening with the patient and how the goals of care change. Often for allied health we're very sessional and very part-time, so it's a pragmatic thing as well. You have to work I work very closely with the physio in my unit because she's there some days that I'm not. We have a little bit of overlap, but we're also separate. So we will work with each other and support each other's goals for the patient. So I think too, we all have our own perspective when we look at a patient, when we interact with them. So we need to combine all those so that we get a whole picture of the patient, and that includes the patient and the family because I think they're part of the team as well. So it's vital, I think, to work together. I think it's probably underutilised by OTs, partly because there isn't a lot of evidence developed by OTs in palliative care. So it's not something that people automatically go to, which would be good to change. As a result from our national conference this year, though, we're looking at working with CareSearch to set up a forum so that we can have more communication as a group and talk about how we can actually create research, create evidence, and have a more cohesive voice, I think, in the area of palliative care.